Alright, in this video, we're going to use AutoCAD to create a logo. And we're going to use some of our common techniques we would use in AutoCAD, things like X-line and layers and things like that, to create it. And the logo we're going to use is an M from the school that I teach at. And when we create our logos at our school, what I'd like to do and teach my students to do is actually use some of our CAD programs. I know that's not the most graphic designer way to do it, but it's where my background is, and I've found it's a pretty effective way to create some of these logos. So I'm going to teach how to make this M, which is, not a super complex logo, in AutoCAD here. All right, so first thing we'll do is we'll go up and hit this new icon up here. And once it brings up your templates, or you might have a different setting we're just going to open like a standard AutoCAD setting here. And we're going to hit open, and that'll bring us into our default AutoCAD template. All right, now I've designed this logo in millimeters. So one of the things we're going to do right off the bat, and one of the things you probably know from using some of my other AutoCAD tutorials, if you have, is that I insist on typing whenever possible. Okay, so what we're going to do first is we're going to type in units, all right, which is going to allow us to set the units of our drawing, and we're going to change it from inches to millimeters. And then we're going to go ahead and hit OK. All right, now we are still going to have to zoom and things like that because our grid is set at a standard inch spacing, but that's okay, not a big deal. So what we'll do first is we're going to click our middle mouse button down and sort of drag our XY more towards the middle of our screen. It doesn't have to be right in the middle, but just over a little way so we can see where we're creating things. And then what we're going to do is we're going to type in XLI, or I could actually just type XL for X line and hit enter. And what an X line is an infinite line. Now actually, now that I'm doing this, I realize I've actually skipped a step, but I'm going to still create this just to show you, in case you forget this step and you're not using a standard template, how to fix what I've forgot to do beforehand. It's okay, we all make mistakes. So we'll type 0, 0, and that's going to start our X line right at the 0, 0 point of our graph paper, so to speak. We're going to move up to make one vertical, click, then we're going to move down to make one horizontal, click, and then we're going to go ahead and hit escape in the top left of our keyboard. Now what I forgot to do earlier, which is something that I want to use this tutorial to teach how to do, is setting up different layers. Right now I'm on my default 0 layer. Not a good habit to just default to one layer for everything because it's kind of limiting the different tools you have and the advantages you have with AutoCAD. So we're going to hit layer properties first, which is going to open up this layer property screen, and then we're going to right click over in the open here and hit new layer. Now the first layer I always like to create is a construction layer. So we're going to type construction and hit enter, and then I like to double click on the color to change it to something more like a light gray. And construction lines are a thing that's existed since drafting boards, before CAD even was a thing. AutoCAD is basically an electronic version of hand drafting if used correctly. So I've created my construction line. It's okay if you have a different color than me. And then we're going to right click and hit new layer again, and then we're going to call this an object layer. All right, that's where we're going to create our solid lines. And we'll double click on our colors again, and my school has a green for their one of their colors. So you can pick whatever color you like. It doesn't really matter. You can pick red or purple or whatever, but I'm going to pick a nice green here and hit OK. And that sets my 2 layers. That's all the layers we're going to need for this exercise, but normally you might make like a hidden layer or a phantom layer, etc. For my students, my co-teacher and I have actually created templates that have default layers that are identified for specific things, whether it's plumbing or HVAC, or whether it's a mechanical drawing where we have things like an object line or a phantom line or cutting plane line, etc. So I'm going to X out of this now by hitting this little X up here. And then right now, these are on my 0 layer, right? So what we can do is we can just kind of click below and to the right here and go up and to the left to make a little green box to overlap everything and click so that they highlight. And up here, I'm going to click this down arrow and go to construction. And you can see my lines actually switch right to a construction layer. So if I hovered over that, they would go green. But we're going to go construction because that's what they are, construction lines. All right, and now I'm all set. Now I can hit escape, and these are on the right layer. Now before I forget, I got to make sure to switch to that construction layer for any lines I'm creating. All right, now we're going to offset by typing O and hitting enter. And the width of my logo is 600 millimeters. So I'm going to type 600. I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to click this line, the vertical one. I'm going to move to the right, and I'm going to click. It's okay that I can't see that line right now. Now, I could hit escape and type offset again or whatever, but what I recommend you do is hit spacebar. That'll exit you from the command. Hit spacebar again. It brings you back in. And now we're going to go to 420 for the height of the logo and hit enter. And I'm going to pick this horizontal line, move up, click. Okay, now if we zoom out until eventually we hopefully can see everything. Well, I'll hit escape first. But if we zoom out now, we should be able to find that box. This is the overall shape of our logo. Okay, now my logo has a number of different dimensions, and what I'm going to have you do is kind of just create a whole bunch of lines, and it's not really going to look like anything, but I know where we're going, so just stay with me, and eventually we'll end up where we need to be. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is this shape is an M. It's kind of like a block letter style. So we're going to create some of these different lines that we're going to need along the way. So first I need a line in the center because that's where the center of the M goes to. So O, enter, 300, enter. We're going to go from here to the center, click. Okay. And then from there, I need to create some points for where the M actually comes down at an angle. So we're going to go back into that by hitting, again, spacebar, spacebar. And we're going to type in, so the full width of the center is 225. All right, we're going to type in 112.5. Okay, I'll show you why in a moment. So I'm going to hit enter and I'm going to go 112.5 this way, 112.5 that way. That gives me 225 between those two. All right, now the next thing I need to do is I need to create right where the M kind of comes up and there's the inside edges. I'm going to create those as well. So I'm going to hit spacebar, hit it again. The width of this is 255. All right. So now I'm going to go 127.5, which is half of 255. Hit enter. We're going to go over. We're going to go over. Okay. Now I'm going to hit spacebar again, and we're going to make sort of the outside edges of my M. Okay, so hit spacebar again. The number we're going to need now is 110. So 110, hit enter, pick the top line, go down 110, pick the bottom line, go up 110. All right, now I'll give you a little sneak peek of what we're making so you can maybe start to piece this together. But this is the shape that we're making here. Okay, so going back over here, I'm going to hit spacebar again, and we're going to go 45. And this time we're going to go from here, in, from here, in. But I also need to go in from those other edges as well. All right. So we had our 255, which would be a little bit further out. I'm going to take that, and I'm going to go to the left. Now it's going to get real confusing. I'm going to take this line here. I'm going to go to the right, put that in there. All right, I have almost my whole shape here. Now the last thing we need to do is hit escape, type in XL again for X line. And I gotta be careful here to make sure I don't send you to the wrong spot. We're gonna pick on this point right here, And what we're going to do is we're going to put an angled line in. Okay, now to put the line at an angle, I got to do a little bit of math here in my head, to be honest. But our number is going to be an angle of 53.5. All right, so the way I type that in is I'm going to hold shift. I'm going to hit the comma key, which is going to put this little Pac-Man guy in. That's what I like to call him. I know it's the less than sign, but it's more fun to call it Pac-Man. And we're going to type 53.5, and we're going to see if I was right, Lizzie. And that's going to lock it in at this angle right here. And then all it wants is for me to pick a point somewhere at that angle to lock it in. So I'm going to click, and it's in there. And then I'm going to hit the space bar again. I'm going to hit the space bar again, and I'm going to find that point on the opposite side right here. Okay? And then I'm going to click like this. All right? And I'm going to come right down to where that thing meets. And I'm going to click again. And I don't have to do any math. All right? And I'm going to hit escape. All right? Now, here's the fun part. Now it is just connect the dots, or connect the intersections, I guess, technically. So we're going to go up to layer properties. We're going to hit this little down arrow. We're going to go to object. All right? And hopefully that, you know, whatever color you picked is different than gray. All right? So we'll now type L for line. We'll hit enter. All right? And you're going to have to follow along with me. I promise we'll get there. All right? If we make a mistake, it's all good. In a lot of my videos, if you've watched them before, if I make a mistake, a lot of times I don't re-record the video because it's a good opportunity to sort of show you how to get out of it. Hopefully we don't have that scenario here. Ooh, actually, before I even say that, I realize I made another mistake. All right, so let's hit escape for a second. Okay, we need to offset these angled lines to make our M properly. So we're going to go O, enter. We're going to use that 110 number again and hit enter. We're going to offset this one down this way. We're going to offset this one down this way. And you'll see why in a moment. Now we'll hit escape. Now we'll make sure that we're on object. And now we'll type L and hit enter. Here we go. Let's see if we can make a nice M. So we're going to click here. We're going to go up, click, over, click, up, click. Over here. You can follow along with me. Sorry, I won't narrate the whole thing. All right, we're going to go here. And we're going to go over to where that line was created. Click, down, up, over. We're getting there, folks. This is looking good so far. Line over, I'm gonna confuse myself here. Click. Over, down, over again, and then we're gonna hit escape. And somewhere in there, there's an M. All right, but what we do now is we're gonna hit the down arrow. Let's see, moment of truth. We're gonna go to our construction layer. We're gonna turn the layer off. If we did this right, we're gonna have an M underneath. Let's see what happens. Look at that. We've got an M. Okay, so now that we have this, we don't need that construction layer anymore. And I'm going to show you one more trick. Okay, because with this shape, what we've done with our logos, we made a little border and then we put other things on there as well. But I'm going to show you the way I would do it. And this will be a good opportunity to not only show you the offset command again, but also show you how to trim things and extend them in order to create things. So we're going to go O, enter. Our number is going to be 10. We're going to make a little border, make this thing sort of a 3D thing. All right, hit enter. Now I want you to take this line, offset it down, offset this in, so on. We're basically just going to create edges for the inside of our M. You can see all I'm doing is offsetting every one of these lines in. Some of them will overlap, some will be short. It's all good. That's the point of this exercise. All right. Now, while we're doing this, let me explain, like, this construction layer thing that we were doing along with our object layers. you could see that it was a little confusing before. I obviously knew what we were doing because it's my project, but if you were creating a drawing on your own, you need to find what works for you. Okay, so I know some people I've worked with, when they're making views and edges and things like that, they'll only make like a certain area for the construction, and then they'll delete those construction lines, and then they'll make the other more detailed stuff after, and they'll make it like feature by feature by feature by feature. But the more you use this, the more you can sort of see through stuff that initially looks like this to what you're actually trying to create. Okay, so once you've offset all these lines like I have, go ahead and hit escape, and then you're going to type in TR, okay, for trim. Now what we're going to do in some of these types of corners is pretty obvious. We're just going to pick these edges and get rid of them. All right, so click, click, okay. You can also, if you click away from an object, you can click and drag, and it'll make this sort of squiggly line where you could trim things at once. Like over here, I can do the same sort of thing. Get rid of it. So first thing we'll do is trim. We'll kind of get rid of the loose ends, so to speak. Let's go around, do all our trimming. It won't be the last we have to do of it, but we'll get most of it done. All right, and I can middle click and hold it down. I can pan like this if I want. All right, just clicking down the middle mouse button, holding it, and drag it around. Like this. And yeah, it's a little bit tedious, but we're getting somewhere, don't worry. Or I can just click. And I got almost everything. We're almost there. All right, once I have my locations for where my lines are going to go, that's where this is going to get a little bit easier. All right, so now I've got all my edges, but you can see I have some spaces here, and I'd like those to connect. I'll show you how we're going to do that. So we'll start with this middle one. Okay, if I hover over this line, it says it's going to get rid of it. But if I hold the shift key, it'll show it extending to the next part, and it kind of does this depending on what it's closest to. So right up here it says, oh, I'm already touching, I can't do anything here. But if I get to this half of the line, I can extend it down and then do the same on this line while I'm holding shift and extend it over, and then come back and trim what I don't need. All right, so I might want to do the same here and here and here and here, and all I'm doing is holding shift before I click anything. Then I let go of shift and I say trim that away, trim that away. All right, and I can do the same here, here, trim. We're just going to do this all over, okay? So I'm going to, for this one, I'm going to be careful. I don't want to make it overlap the other line. So I'm going to actually make this go down, make this go down, then trim these over. Trim, trim. Do the same here, hold shift, click, 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 click. Let go of shift, trim away what you don't need. And then I'm going to come up here, do the same thing, get rid of that. All right, and it looks like I got everywhere, so I can hit escape and then just type Z, enter, A, enter, and that'll kind of put your shape on the screen for you. And there's our M logo for the school that I teach at. All right, so a couple little techniques, not the most complex project ever, but you do learn some pretty handy little tricks in AutoCAD. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching as always. Hope you check out my other videos.